Hello guys, my name is xRellic and you guys are watching Philosophical Friday episode 4. But before we get into that, I just wanted to mention a couple things. One, this gameplay, it's a vector gameplay on cargo where I go 15-1 in 5 rounds. But my death is pretty stupid, you'll see it pretty soon. And the host dashboard's at the end of the 4th or the 5th round. So unfortunately I didn't get the last kill or two, I don't know how many were left. And you'll see my kill in a second here because I think that's an enemy, and then that's awkward. But the other thing I wanted to mention quickly is that I posted a video on the Search and Destroy Elite today that is probably my best gameplay ever. It's a Moab on Modern Warfare 3 in Search and Destroy. Completely legitimate. No teammates. Didn't drop the round on purpose. And it's going to be on the link in the description and on the screen, and go check that out. It's pretty damn awesome. I was like losing it when I got it. Alright, now on to Philosophical Friday. What I'm going to be talking about today is the concept of Anemnesis, I think it's pronounced. And it is from Plato. And Plato is, I'm going to kind of talk about history here for a second, I'll make it quick. Socrates was the first ever philosopher, but Socrates never wrote anything down. And Plato was one of Socrates' students, and he was the first philosopher who ever actually kept track of his thoughts and his arguments, and he's kind of the start of our history of philosophy. And one of his ideas was Anemnesis, Anemnesis, and he started off thinking, how does someone obtain knowledge? Because one of his students, because Plato also went on to become a teacher, kind of asked him. I mean, he probably put his hand up and everything and went, excuse me, Mr. Plato, how do we recognize something if we don't know it? And what I mean by that is, if you don't know something, if you don't know a fact, how can you recognize it? How can you recognize when something is red if you don't know what red is? How can you recognize when something is honorable when you don't know what honor is? How can you recognize any of these things? And Plato understood this. He realized that if you don't understand something and have no knowledge of it, then how can you recognize when that knowledge is in front of you? And his solution was the thought that obtaining knowledge isn't actually obtaining new knowledge. A person's soul lives through multiple lifetimes, and he thinks that when a new body obtains knowledge that it didn't know before, it's because the soul knew it, and then the new body just rediscovered it. So every time a soul was put into a new body, it kind of lost all of its information, but it was kind of stored in the back of its mind. And then obtaining knowledge is just rediscovering it and realizing that you already knew what it was, but now you kind of understand it and are able to experience it in real life. And that's how Plato decided and concluded how humans and souls and things like that obtain knowledge. And it's a weird concept because it kind of relies on the belief that there are souls that go through multiple lifetimes. And that is probably the most controversial part about this idea. Now this may be a little hard for us to understand, but Plato believed that we all had souls, but the souls didn't exist in the material world. That's why we can never experience them and see them and measure their weights or anything like that. But he believed that this concept of a soul knowing things and then losing its knowledge or kind of having its knowledge partially erased when it came into the material world is, to use Plato's words, the closest that human minds can come to experiencing the freedom of the soul prior to its being encumbered by matter. So what he's saying is that this concept of knowledge and obtaining knowledge is the closest that our minds can come to experiencing what a soul is like. Realizing these things that we already knew is the closest connection we have to the souls of ourselves. And this is an interesting thought, but unfortunately this is one of those concepts that is purely theoretical because there really is no way to test it. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video because that's really all I have for today. It's an interesting little concept that I like to think about. And if you guys are new to the series, to the Philosophical Fridays, then I'll just recap it quickly for you guys. What I'm going to do is every Friday I'm just going to talk quickly about some sort of philosophical topic that kind of gets your mind flowing. It's not to prove a point or make a point or agree or disagree with any of these philosophers. Just to kind of give you guys something to think about, and maybe you guys will want to read into philosophy or something like that, because I am a philosophy student. which is why I'm kind of interested in this stuff. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.